Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies, inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, this is Chris Haskell from They Live by Film. For those that don't know us, Adam, Zach, and I, we built a podcast over the last 2 years that's a combination of film discussion from 3 very different perspectives, as well as industry interviews with the leaders in boutique Blu-ray and 4K community. We started with Deaf Crocodile, but over time we've been lucky enough to speak with Arrow Video, Severin, Mondo Macabro, Vinegar Syndrome, Radiance, Indicator, most of the OCN partner labels. It's been a blast. You can find us wherever you podcast, and also actually recently as part of Someone's Favorite Production podcast network. We hope to see you online.
I mean, at least I know who this movie's directed by.
Steven Spielberg, as Mike joked on Twitter yesterday.
Steven Spielberg directing The Funhouse, also released as Carnival of Terror. Jesus Christ, good Lord. You know, sometimes, Mark, I don't question why we watch things, but when we're talking about something like this, I am at a loss for words.
Well, it kind of sounds like maybe you liked it even less than I did.
Well, maybe. We'll see. So on this episode of the KULTURECAST, I'm joined by my good friend, Mr. Mark Begley of the Wake Up Heavy podcast.
Hello. I forgot to gather up a clever line from the film to use.
Just scream. God. And on this episode of that goes to show the quality of this movie. On this episode of the KULTURECAST, we're going to be talking about randomly, for whatever reason, because why not? We like talking about movies. You can't muzzle us. Hashtag don't muzzle white man's opinions on movies, especially horror movies. There aren't enough of them out in the world. We're going to be talking about 1981's The Funhouse.
Who will dare to face the challenge of the Funhouse? Who is mad enough to enter that world of darkness?
Something is alive in the Funhouse. Something not alive like its father. Something better dead. Something that has the form of a human, but not the face.
This better be good.
It's gonna be great.
Something that feeds off the flesh and blood of young innocents.
Come on, here we go. This is it.
Something that tonight would turn the Funhouse into a carnival of terror.
I just want to get the hell out of here!
The Funhouse, coming soon from Universal Pictures. The Funhouse. It's a carnival of terror from Tobe Hooper, the director who terrified you with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
So The Funhouse is, like I mentioned, written by Larry Block, directed by Tobe Hooper, and it stars a lot of people. Elizabeth Berridge, Cooper Huckabee, Miles Chapin, who I saw earlier this year in Bless the Beast and Children, of all things. And it is a movie about 4 friends who go to a carnival that has a fun house that maybe bad things have been happening in. And by maybe, I mean some people got murdered. in the Funhouse, and they're not supposed to go there, and they do. And wouldn't you know it, Mark, there's a monster.
History repeats itself.
Yes, wouldn't you know it, history repeats itself, and there is a monster. And boy, isn't there.
This is going to be interesting.
So, Mark, tell me about the first time you saw Tobe Hooper's The Funhouse.
It had to have been within the last, well, gosh, now that it's 2022, sometime within the last 8 years, probably. I saw it for the first time. This was not a movie I rented when I was young. I remember the video cover, and it's kind of cool, so I don't know why I avoided it.
Which video cover? The one with the clown coming out of the Jack in the Box?
The one with the clown, and I'm sure at some point they probably had one that said from the director of Poltergeist, because this came out just the year prior, and the video for it probably came out when Poltergeist was in theaters. Or
came out the year prior. Feels like it came out a decade earlier.
Yes, it does. That was one of the points I was going to make. It feels like a 70s film in tone and
early 70s
tone and tone. Yeah. But I watched it. I didn't care for it the first time I watched it. And then I watched it a second time, sometime within the last 4 or 5 years. And I feel like I enjoyed it more that time. And watching it yesterday, I went back more to the first time I watched it and thought, yeah, I'm not really sure I like this one that much.
I had never seen this before. I can't say I'm a fan of Tobe Hooper's work, because that would be all of 2 things other than this. One of those things, I guess 3 things, but one of them is technically just the second film in a series of those films. Those films being Texas Chainsaw 1, Texas Chainsaw 2, and Poltergeist, this being now the 4th Tobe Hooper film that I have seen. And yeah, no, I'm with you. This movie is not good. This movie has a lot of problems. This movie is 96 minutes, and it feels like it's 2 hours. The climax of the film goes on for it almost, if I didn't know any better, I would think that this was a parody film, a satire. Like, it pushes on that at times, especially with the way the film ends, where it takes literally him being crushed to death to die. He being Gunther Tweebent,
is that the name of the character?
Yeah, Gunther. They never say his name, but that's what Wikipedia and IMDb say. But my God, what a character design
by Rick Baker.
Well, I mean, it looks like a Rick Baker character. It looks like a hairless. You know what it looks like? Because I know you're a fan of this movie. It looks like a hairless version of the creatures from American Werewolf in London. You know, the little Nazi werewolves that break into the house. It looks just like those.
That's true. I hadn't even made that connection, because the
thing.
Yeah, they don't show his face a whole lot. But
unfortunately, it's the funniest thing in this movie.
That's a very good point. You know, your comment
also done by Rick Baker, by the way.
Right, obviously. Right. Your comment about the Tobe Hooper, I always say Tobe. I don't know why.
I know you're the only one who does. I kind of like
Tobe Hooper.
Tobe.
I don't know. Maybe I heard somebody say it that way.
Famed auteur Tobe Hooper.
But I'm looking through his
movies not like this movie, he might have been called Tobe Hooper.
Well, for me, I've seen quite a bit more. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've seen Eaten Alive, Salem's Lot, the TV series, this, Poltergeist, obviously. I can't remember if I've seen Venom, Life Force, Invaders from Mars, Texas Chainsaw 2, which I am not a fan of.
Right, which is weird. It's weird. Well, it's weird because you and I sync up on a lot of our opinions on things. And that is, I think, it's weird because that is a film that is, I think, widely regarded as a good movie.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people love it. It's that horror comedy mix that which I don't
totally get. You are like the most averse to that of anyone I know, which is why I completely get it.
And it's because of movies like Texas Chainsaw 2, I feel like it's not so much horror comedy. I think when they're taking the piss, that's what it feels like to me with this. Like, oh, I've got free reign and I don't remember when this came up. It's the same thing with Gremlins 2.
Oh, wait, do you not like Gremlins 2?
I feel like they're making fun of the people who like the original. And that's what I take from it. I'm not saying that's, I mean, you could argue that with Gremlins too, because they're taking all of those, not just the errors, but the whole myth of the gremlin and kind of saying, this is all the stuff you like. Well, fuck you. It's all stupid. And we're just going to go crazy. And that's sort of how I feel Texas Chainsaw 2 is as well. That's just me.
You don't like Gremlins 2?
No.
Oh my God. I don't know, man. That's a harder. Ooh, that's a hill. See, for me, that's a hill worth dying on. I don't know. For me, I love that movie. Like,
and again, a lot of people do. A lot of people like that more than the first one, and it's that tone.
You know what I will say. I think comparing Gremlins 1, like, why are we even comparing them? Why? You know what I mean? Like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is a different movie than the first one. Yeah. So much so that it's like alien. Like, we should be viewing Gremlins and Gremlins 2. I wish it had been Gremlin and Gremlins. That's what it would be now. We should be viewing Gremlins and Gremlins 2 and Texas Chainsaw 2 like Alien and Aliens. They're completely different movies. Totally.
Oh, yeah.
Like, tonally, like Terminator 1 and Terminator 2. Terminator 2 is not scary. Terminator 1 is pretty goddamn scary. And Aliens is not scary. Alien 1 is a horror movie.
I don't mind that switch. It's just that horror comedy thing doesn't generally work for me. I talk about this a lot on my show, and it's come up, I think, in other things that I've done. I say that, but there are a number that I really enjoy. But it's a harder sell for me if it's going to be a mix of those two.
So what of those kinds of movies do you like? If we're
something
on
like
topic?
Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Okay, that's a good one. Kind of a. That's more popular now than it used to be. That movie.
There were a couple of more recent, like The
Shaun
Babysitter,
of the Dead, right?
Shaun of the Dead, I enjoy a lot.
That's kind of like the pinnacle, right?
And that's almost straight comedy to me. I mean,
I like Shaun of the Dead, but for me, it has diminished in its value since it came out. Like, I loved it when I first saw it, but now it's like, it's good, but I like The World's End better. I like Hot Fuzz better. I think Shaun of the Dead's a good movie. It's not my favorite of those anymore, but it's still a good movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. It's really a tone thing, and sometimes the tone works for me, and sometimes it doesn't. I enjoy humor in horror, and there is almost always humor in, especially 80s horrors. There's always going to be a character that supplies the humor or humorous scenes, but
often fat characters.
When it's that's what you're doing. I don't know. It just doesn't work for me very often.
How do you feel about something really like Dead Alive?
Yeah, Dead Alive, or even, Bad Taste, which I love. I haven't seen Dead Alive in a very long time. But The Frighteners I do not like for that exact reason. Not
surprising.
Because I think the humor in that kills the horror. When that happens to me, and again, it's particular to me. I'm not saying that someone else will watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and think, oh, the humor is killing the horror for me. For me, it does. For other people, it might not. Same with Gremlins 2, although I think it's a stretch calling that horror anyway.
Well, the first movie is a horror movie.
First movie is a horror movie, and it works effectively as a horror movie. And there is humor in the movie as well.
Right.
But it's dark humor, which I prefer as opposed to slapsticky or comedy. I mean, and I say that,
dudes.
I say that knowing that Tucker and Dale versus Evil contains a lot of slapsticky horror.
But that's the point of that movie,
right?
That movie is not one bit scary.
Right.
I think it's when it's trying to be scary and funny where it's the problem. You can have a horror movie that's just a comedy where horrible things are happening and people are getting chopped up and bitten by zombies and shit, but don't try to be scary. It's kind of hard to do both.
You mentioned American Werewolf from London, and
hilarious movie.
I don't see that as a horror comedy film. I see it as a horror film that has elements of humor in it.
A lot of surrealist comedy and like absurdist comedy in that movie.
Yeah, and character. Yeah, obviously Jack. Every time he shows up, it's funny, but it's also
fucked
I mean,
up.
it's not horrifying, but
it's fucked up.
It's gross, and it works. It treads that line perfectly.
Griffin Dunn. That's the first movie I ever saw Griffin Dunn in.
I watched some reaction videos of that like last year, or deep in the pandemic, when there wasn't much else going on, and I was watching all these reaction videos, and people were very thrown off by the tone of American Werewolf of London, and I've never questioned it. It weaves in and out, easily and perfectly to me. I mean, even Rosemary's Baby, there's humor in that. The Elisha Cook Jr. character and obviously Ruth Gordon and her husband are goofy, and it's humorous, but it's not a mixture of those two. Right. I love good humor in horror. But anyway, we've gotten way off the track.
Well,
is there any humor in the Funhouse?
No. Well, I was going to say, you like good humor in horror, which brings us to this movie.
Oh, I know what I was saying. I was going through Tobe's filmography, and I think the Mangler is another one that I've seen. Most of those movies, like Invaders from Mars and some of those, have that, and Eaten Alive have this really strange tone that I think this fits into, where it's not really even humor. It's just a weird feeling. I think he just had a different kind of sensibility about things. And that's apparent.
Which I would agree with.
In this one. It's like you mentioned, this does not feel like an 80s movie. 81, even that's early 80s, but still, when you look at other slashers or horror movies from 1981, you're in the 80s. This is like,
I don't know what this is, man.
Slightly exploitation-y 70s, early 70s.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't even feel like late 70s, early 80s. It feels like 71, 72. It's a weird movie. When you turn this movie on, you will be surprised by what this movie looks like. Like, what this movie is from essentially frame one is strange. It's weird from frame one because it's a Psycho / Halloween homage for.
Oh yeah, totally. I don't think I noticed that the first two times I'd watch it. I'm like, oh, this is Halloween. Puts a mask on. He's point of view of the killer walking through a room. Puts on a mask. Picks up a knife.
Sees his sister's breasts, which is super okay. Yeah, we're opening this movie, with this, which is this little boy seeing his sister's full-on perky breasts, and it's just like, whatever. Here we go, folks. It's like I was confused from the first frame.
I do like the credits though of the film. I actually watched it with my daughter. I said, I got to go home and watch a movie for tomorrow. You can watch it with me if you want. And she's like, okay. So we were watching the credits and we're both going, okay, these animatronic figures are creepy as hell.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I liked the music too. But then the opening, I thought, okay, Halloween. And of course the shower, they do a close-up of her face, which is basically the Jamie Lee Curtis scream. Mm-hmm. So we got Halloween and Psycho paying homage or ripping off those two classics, and then going in an entirely different direction after that.
Yeah. In a direction that I don't understand what Tobe Hooper was going for with this movie. Because you open it with what I assume is homage / parody / your own kind of sensibilities in that scene, which is perfectly fine. But then the rest of the movie is just, they go to a carnival and then they're in a funhouse the rest of the movie. A funhouse that is like acres big. It
should be an interesting.
My interest was piqued by the premise, and does not even remotely deliver.
You could do a lot inside of a funhouse. Right? Isn't that
kind of a lot inside of Leatherface's house in Texas Chainsaw?
Yeah.
A movie that Tobe made.
And then the whole subplot with the brother. So she's a teenager. She's like a junior or senior in high school or something. And her brother, I think it's mentioned that he's 10 or something like that. And so she's going to go to the carnival with her new boyfriend and a couple of his friends, it seems like. They don't know her or like her very well. That's the impression I got. But the brother sneaks out after she has left to go to the carnival as well. And it leads nowhere.
Right.
I couldn't remember well enough because I probably half paid attention the 2 times that I watched it. And I assumed, okay, he's going to be the device that frees them or saves them at some point, or he's going to be in peril as well.
Right.
And that doesn't end up being the case at all.
Nope.
He sneaks around the carnival looking for her for God knows how long. And then once the carnival shuts down, he's still sneaking around, but there's not a whole heck of a lot he can do because everybody's left and the car is still there, but he has no idea where they are. And then he just gets caught by one of the other carnies and they call his parents and they come and pick him up. And I guess it's solely for the scene towards the end where she is screaming through the fan, our heroine, our final girl, where she's screaming through the fan at her parents who are there. Right. And obviously they can't hear her. So that was all the setup for that shot. That's
what it seems like, because they devoted an awful large amount of time to our good friend, the brother of the film. Yeah. I don't understand. Again, if you're going to spend ostensibly a third of the movie on the B plot, it goes nowhere.
Yeah, there's no payoff.
I don't get it. And Sean Carson as the brother's not bad. Just not given anything to do.
I like when the old hick scares him in the truck. That was enjoyable.
yeah, I like that. But
I'm thinking there's an easier way to get her parents, and I mean, it doesn't even need that scene really. There's an easier way to get her parents there. They didn't want her to go to the carnival. They somehow find out she's gone. Donnie could come down the stairs and go, they're not going to a movie, they're going to the carnival, and then have the parents go there and try and find her and get her ass home because she disobeyed the dad, blah, blah, blah. There were other ways to do it. I would have liked something to have happened to Donnie. I think that was the brother's name, to where he was in peril and she had to save him as well as herself.
Right. It didn't make any sense to me why that wasn't in there.
Yeah, it doesn't pay off at all.
No. Well, and it's, what's even stranger about the movie is if you know what this movie's existence consisted of, which is it's a Friday the 13th ripoff, it feels like one. It's written by Larry Block to cash in on Friday the 13th's popularity. It just feels like a poorly done Friday the 13th ripoff.
Except there's you have a masked killer
who looks weird,
who's a mutation, which I guess is the different angle here.
Right. He's a sideshow creature.
It's not really a stalk and slash situation. It's more of, it reminds me of, I don't know, every time I watch this, I think of a couple different X-Files episodes, like obviously the Carney one.
Right.
And even something like the one that's all about Cher, the creature that likes Cher. It makes me think of that one too.
They were going to say the Home episode.
Well, and Home kind of in a way as well because of the mutation. But what is that one called? It's Prometheus something. I don't know if it's Prometheus.
The modern age Prometheus man or something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
So it makes me think of those 3 episodes of the X-Files and how much I'd rather be watching any of those 3 episodes of the X-Files.
Yeah. I guess what I don't understand about this movie is why does it spin its wheels for so long? It takes so long for it to get to the point where they're being chased by Gunther. And when, Conrad, the carnival barker is played by Kevin Conway. He's chasing after him too, but he's also kind of mobilized Gunther into being a killer for whatever reason.
Right. And that stuff is all a little muddied for me as well. Like, because I assumed that he set up the tryst between the Sylvia Miles character, the Madame Vina, and Gunther to the most uncomfortable scene in the movie when she is going to have sex with him for money.
Right.
And I figured, the dad set this up because, they're all a part of this thing. And this is the only way this kid, I say kid, is ever going to have sexual relations. Man, I don't remember that scene being that weird before. She basically jerks him off, and I was like, oh my God, I never noticed that's what was going on.
God, okay.
Luckily, my daughter wasn't really paying attention to the movie at that point. I'm like, I don't think she understands what's going on right now.
The monster's having a good time before he makes everybody else have a really bad time.
And I was like, oh, this is yucky. And then, of course, because of his premature ejaculation, he gets angry and kills her. And that's what sets everything off, along with that jackass stealing their money.
Miles Chapin.
Yeah. He was in something I saw recently, too, and I couldn't remember what it was, but I recognized his face. But
he's pretty good.
I really hated the boyfriend, though. Buzz? Was that his name?
Buzz. Yeah, he's
typical asshole.
Yeah. I'll go stop him. You go. I think we know what's happening.
But just even before that, how he was treating her the whole time, it just kind of made me angry.
Yeah, he's one of those characters where you're excited to watch him die. You know he's gonna get it, so you're like waiting for the moment for him to get it, and he gets it off screen. God damn it!
That's right.
Don't not give us that. Don't not give us him getting murdered. There's very little gore in this movie.
I was confused by that. I thought, which one is screaming? Because it seemed like he had the upper hand, but
guess not.
Comes out in the arms of one of the animatronic figures. Yeah. I do like Elizabeth Berridge, though.
Yeah, she's not bad.
I liked her in this, and every time I see her, which isn't very often, I'm like, what do I know her from? I know her face so clearly. And then I realized, I watched Amadeus a bunch when I was younger. It seemed like it was always on cable, or we rented it a bunch or something, because I watched that movie a ton in the 80s. And she plays his wife in that. And she's hysterical in it. She's very good in that movie. It's
on my list of things to watch.
It is. I just remember being so confused by the whole thing, thinking, it's about Mozart. It's going to be this serious movie. And it's just him being a goofball the whole movie until he gets sick and dies.
It's I forget the actor's name, but it's Pinto from Animal House, right?
Yeah, Tom Hulse or Hulsey or something. I think it's Hulse, but Pinto from Animal House and whatever his character's name is in Parenthood. Yeah, he was kind of big for a little while.
Yeah,
mainly because of Amadeus.
I said that's a big movie. That's a popular movie. Milos Forman, right?
Yeah, which is probably why it has that interesting comical. I'm sure that's how the play is too. But I remember watching that a bunch, just getting a kick out of that film.
Does it speak to the quality of this movie that we would rather talk about anything else than this movie? It's just, I genuinely don't understand the point of this movie, because for all of the nuance that Tobe Hooper brings to Texas Chainsaw, which there is a fair amount of nuance to that film, it's like this is a student film. Like this is as bad as it gets for these kinds of movies in a lot of ways. Like this is really a poor slasher film.
I shouldn't say there's not much to it, but like you've mentioned, not a whole lot takes place.
Right.
We've got these little side adventures where they go and see a magician and they go and to peek through the canvas to see the strippers, but feels like padding to me, as opposed to the meat of the story. When we finally get to that, it just seems like it could have been, yes, we still have those things in it, but it's much quicker. And then we get to the funhouse, they get trapped in the funhouse and a lot more cat and mouse. There isn't that much of that. And the adding that the person that's doing this is a quote unquote circus freak. Not even a circus freak, really, because he's hidden most of the film in a gigantic Frankenstein mask.
Comically large Frankenstein mask, because the head of the creature is comically large.
Right. Basically split in half like the two-headed cow that they show. That was a bit unnerving. The real animal freaks.
Yeah. I don't know what the deal with that was.
It's like, oh.
I just really can't. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this movie, because in a lot of ways, like when I got to the end of it, I was like, okay, so all the characters but our main character dies. perfectly fine. It's a horror movie. The brother is not involved in the climax at all, but given a third of the movie. And what was the point of all of this though? Like, be careful what you wish for. Don't go places you shouldn't go. Horror movies tend to have something to say, and this movie didn't have anything to say.
Yeah, I think it's don't go places you shouldn't go. That's the through line. Dad says he doesn't want her going to the carnival.
Right.
Because 2 girls had been killed in some other city.
Right. At the same carnival.
They go, yeah. And also they go into the ride when it's shutting down. So you're not supposed to go there. They see things they're not supposed to see. They go into a room, steal money. They're doing a bunch of stuff that they're not supposed to do. It's not.
So how are they the heroes of the movie is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the thing.
My point is like, what's the point of this movie? Because the good guys seem like bad guys. They seem like the villains of the movie.
Well, that's what everybody says they're doing in Texas Chainsaw Massacre as well. You know, we've talked about that before and how I disagree with that notion. But yeah, I guess is it a morality tale? Kids these days. Kids, that's the Gunther.
My favorite part of the whole movie is when Conrad is like, go get him. Hit yourself or I'll hit you. And he pulls that mask off. I laughed out loud at the reveal. Okay, that's the thing we kind of still haven't talked about. The monster, while it's a good design, is a fucking dumb design. It looks really dumb. Like, it looks like laughably bad. Like, not like bad quality, but like what they're presenting on screen is not scary. It is hilarious to look at.
Well, for me, it's confusing because I guess it probably would be a harder sell if it was more of a realistic deformity, because he looks like a monster.
He is a monster. That's why I'm saying, like, it looks hilarious because he doesn't even resemble a human being. Like, this is beyond what I would consider a realistic level of like mutation that someone could live as. Like, how is this person actually? I'm not like cinema sensing or anything, but like, how are you actually alive?
Everything wrong with the Funhouse in 15 minutes.
Everything is wrong with it. But like, how are you alive?
I think it would be a lot more disturbing if it was a realistic deformity, but they maybe didn't want to go that route because it's insensitive. But I think you could do it right with the right tone.
Right.
And have someone, because obviously someone with a severe facial deformity would, especially at that time, be ostracized.
Right. Of course. Makes perfect sense at the time. I understand. Like,
but to have it be a monster, it's basically a monster.
It's a monster. It's not is
kind of. My daughter's eyes just like went round as saucers when he pulled his mask off.
It's the funniest part of the movie. It's funny. Like, it's hilarious. The reveal is insane. He is a monster he's a dude in a monster mask is what it is. Yeah.
You kind of lose sympathy for the character at that point, or at least I feel like I do. Like, oh, he's a monster.
Right.
Like a literal monster.
The nuance from the character is gone the moment the Frankenstein mask comes off.
Yeah.
There was a slight level of nuance to the character beforehand. Like you said, you kind of feel sorry for him with the whole Madame Xena thing. I mean, he kills her, but you kind of feel bad for him because he's ostracized. He's not being treated very well by Conrad. But then, he's just a literal monster. who has to be killed like a monster. It takes like 8 million things to kill him.
Right. Yeah, it's
plays into the worst tropes of this genre. It just plays into every single trope you could imagine.
It feels a little bit like his film Eaten Alive, which was the film after Texas Chainsaw. It has that strange tone. That's a trippy movie. You should watch it sometime. It probably won't top your Tobe Hooper list of films either, but have you seen Motel Hell?
Okay,
it's similar to that. I mean, it's similar to Texas Chainsaw. It's people getting trapped in like a hotel or something in the swamp, but it's all set bound. Nothing is on location. It was just a set that's created. So it's got this weird Giallo-esque lighting. There's lots of greens and reds. And so it has this interesting look to it. But again, there's something about his sensibilities and tone that doesn't quite work for me, that I can see people hooking on to, like, oh, this is the Tobe Hooper touch, and like, just like for the reasons that I like something like Tourist Trap, which is, again, similar to all these films. It's young kids in their 20s going where they shouldn't go,
right,
and getting stalked by a creepy person in a mask. I mean, that's Texas Chainsaw. Well, it's also Tourist Trap,
right,
which I enjoy 10 times more than Texas Chainsaw, even the original, which I really like. But I can see people watching that movie and going, oh, this is weird. This has a weird tone. This doesn't make any sense. And that's how I feel about a lot of Tobe Hooper's movies. Even something like Life Force has there's just something off about them to me that doesn't quite hit my pleasure receptors the same way or something. I don't know what it is. I can't really explain what's missing from his movies.
But something is missing. And
something's definitely missing. Yeah, something's definitely missing in this one.
Well, and again, this isn't Tobe Hooper's script, so I wonder what the script is missing. Because again, Tobe Hooper can't do much with a bad script. That is kind of I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre is probably Tobe Hooper's best film in a lot of ways. It's also one of like 3 films that he wrote himself. So maybe that lends credence to why it is the case. I know he worked with Dan O'Bannon on 2 of the movies you're talking about. Life Force and Invaders from Mars are both Dan O'Bannon stories, which piques my interest because I'm a huge Dan O'Bannon fan.
Yeah, that's a whole other can of worms for me.
What, Dan O'Bannon?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff of his I like, and there's a lot of stuff I don't, and it's kind of for the same reasons that they're those kids. They're the ones that grew up on EC Comics and things like that had a real black humor. But I think it's just how they translate it.
Sure.
Dan O'Bannon's just a weird, practically everything, I think, except maybe for the Jodorowsky Dune documentary, he comes off as and I know he was sick and in a lot of pain for a lot of his life, but he comes off as this curmudgeonly man who every time, with every script he wrote, he seemed to be so angry at the changes that were made. Like Alien, my script was so much better.
I mean, to be fair, they did try to take Alien away from Ron Shusett and Dan O'Bannon.
Right. And then
Schuyler and Hill tried to take it away completely. That's maybe the only one where I give him a pass. Everything else, I agree with you.
But if you're a script writer and you haven't gotten to the point in your life where you realize that these things, once the script is sold and out of your hands, it's like you need to learn how to say goodbye.
Right, I agree.
Because tons of people are going to get their hands in on this. So for me, it's one of my favorite movies is Dead and Buried. One of my earliest episodes I did on that movie. I used to watch it all the time. It's a Dan O'Bannon, Ronald Shusett script. Dan O'Bannon wanted his name removed because, he said that they changed it so much that basically none of what he wrote was in there. That didn't happen, but it's just, every time I read a story about something he was involved with, he's pissed off that they changed something. He's pissed off that this came out differently. He's been involved in a lot of things that I really like. And I always wonder to myself, well, how much of it was his? Because it seems like, according to him, everything's been changed to where it doesn't even resemble what he wrote.
But let's talk about something Return of the Living Dead, my favorite zombie movie. Written and directed by Dan O'Bannon. And
I have grown to enjoy it more, but it would never even enter like a top 20 list for me.
Really?
And again, it's because of that. I think that does a more successful job of mixing comedy and horror, because the horror is still strong. And there's also a lot of pathos and drama and stuff in that. I mean, the scenes with what's his name, with the two guys that are running the place, they get sick.
Yeah.
When they start turning,
Tom Matthews and James Karen.
Yeah, it's like heartbreaking.
It is. It's fucked up.
It's
James
done
Karen
very well.
burns himself alive.
Yeah, that's
pretty
rough,
fucked
man.
up. It's very fucked up. But that's what I like about that movie.
Yeah,
is it has the balls to be like, yeah, I'm going to show you some really fucked up stuff, but also show you some really funny stuff. Like I have a backpack somewhere in my house that has a pin that is the half dog from Return of the Living Dead. It's a half dog pin that Mondo was selling a year or two ago. And it's like that. It's an enamel pin of the half dog. Like I fucking love that movie, but I understand that movie has problems and that movie is a tonal mess, but yeah, it is.
and sometimes even tonal messes work.
Right.
For me, like, well, that was a hard shift, but I kind of like that sometimes. Well, you've obviously seen that documentary, then More Brains.
Mm-hmm.
So you know about Dan O'Bannon.
Yeah, I mean, again, here's the
he was a nutball.
My take on Dan O'Bannon is you're not wrong. You're completely right. He was a curmudgeon-y guy, but you know what? I kind of would be too if they tried to take Alien away from me. Wouldn't you? Alien is one of the greatest movies ever made. They knew what they were making when they were making it. Like, you know what it's one of those things where they knew what they were making. They knew they had this great idea. Two motherfuckers came in. Walter Hill's a motherfucker, but he's a motherfucker who's talented. David Geiler can piss up a fucking rope for all I care. But they tried to take it away from him. I mean, they did. That is the long and short of it. And if you didn't have your name on Alien and someone else did, you'd be pretty fucking pissed too.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
But I agree with you. Outside of that, like, dude, you got to be able to like collaborate, compromise, work with people. You can't be the guy who everybody thinks is that guy, because then people won't work with you because they think you're that guy. Whether or not you are that guy, if you have that perception, people are going to stay away from you. And who knows what he didn't work on because of it.
I'd be angry too, just because I have Crohn's that, it's destroying my guts.
Well, that's again, as someone who suffers from a similar intestinal thing, not as bad as Crohn's, but similarly as kind of daily, I understand that kind of pissiness too, because you're like, you can't see the sickness that I'm dealing with because it's like, it's a stomach thing. So it's like, I'm kind of pissy all the time too, but I get it. But at the same time, you don't want the perception as someone who's hard to work with, especially not in Hollywood.
Not when you're selling scripts.
Yeah. Not when you're not Johnny Depp, you're Dan O'Bannon. Like you need to be careful about kind of how far you flex your muscles, about your self-importance, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the self-importance is the thing that always kind of rears its head when I see stuff about him. I really like a lot of the stuff that he's been involved in, and he should be celebrated because he had his fingers in a lot of different interesting properties over the years, whether much of what he wrote ended up on the screen or not. And that's why I'd be real curious to find out what exactly of his was in Dead and Buried, because I fucking love that movie.
I have never seen that movie all the way through.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird movie, but it caught my attention as a kid, and I still watch it. I see its problems now more these days, and it was gonna be a horror comedy film. They wanted to film it as a black comedy. Well, I shouldn't say horror comedy, but as a black comedy. And I'm kind of glad they didn't, but it would be interesting to see that. That may be what Dan O'Bannon was pissed off about in that instance.
So Larry Block is an interesting guy, apparently.
Yeah, I've seen the name on things, but I'm not super familiar.
He's one of the writers on the Captain America movie.
Huh.
But his singular credits are The Funhouse and Captain America, along with the Me Gunther Horror Show, which you can find on YouTube, which is, I assume, Larry Block as Gunther in a Gunther mask as the character from Funhouse reviewing other people's movies. One of them happens to be Dan O'Bannon's Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, you know who I'm thinking of? I'm not thinking of Larry Block. I'm thinking of the guy that wrote Psycho. It's not even spelled the same way. Robert
Block? Yeah, B-L-O-C-H.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you that I understand why there have not been a whole lot of things out from Larry Block since this movie.
Yeah, I'm.
It's not a narratively interesting film. I honestly think the problems with this movie are, I mean, outside of, honestly, I think it's the script. What have we complained about? What have we talked about, analyzed with this movie that hasn't really just boiled down to the plot?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a little too, it's padded for one thing.
Oh my God. The whole brother stuff is
right.
Cut that out completely. And you've lost 20 minutes. Now you're sub hour 30.
And that's the thing that I kept going, what? I couldn't remember what happens with the kid. He's got to get captured by the creature at some point. No, that never happens. And then he
never
wakes
even
up
interacts with them.
Right. And that's why I was like, well, that seemed really pointless then, other than that shot of her screaming through the fan,
right,
which you could have her do at anybody in the carnival.
Mm-hmm.
That was still there. I mean, there were obviously other carnies still breaking down the carnival at that point,
right,
to get out of there and get to the next town. Yeah, I don't know. It's
the premise on paper sounds better than it is in execution.
You could have so much stuff go on in a carnival. That's that is, well, just think of the word. When you hear the word carnival, you think of all kinds of exciting stuff, rides, sideshows.
But it is called the Funhouse.
Right. But
which is what people who like this movie will say.
Yeah. But where do you find funhouses?
But I would also contend that while it is called the Funhouse, like you've mentioned, you shouldn't expect that there aren't going to be carnival parts, because I assumed there would be, as you did. And also I assumed they would do more with the Funhouse. They would make the Funhouse more interesting to look at. It looks so drab and boring anyways. It's not interesting. It's not even like gothic or really stylized. It's just,
I really like that big eyeball though at the beginning. I thought that was a pretty well made thing. No, it's, I don't know. It's another one of those movies that I know has its audience, and you just kind of wonder, what is it? Not to second guess anybody's taste, but it's like, I wonder what it is that people latch on to with this. Elizabeth Berridge's boobs, which you get to see a handful of times in the film. I don't know. The creature design, I guess. I don't know.
Well, Larry Block is also one of those guys that doesn't, let me put it this way. If I had reached out to Larry Block to interview him for the show, he probably would have done it willingly, even if we have a bad opinion about the movie. He's one of those kinds of people.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Good on him for getting a movie made. It's a Tobe Hooper movie. Great. Outside of that, Tobe. Outside of that, everything else, there are better movies that are like this. That's the problem, honestly, isn't it? Like anymore, like you've got to justify your existence to me and then justify me wanting to watch you again.
If you want to see a good carnival movie, watch Malatesta's Carnival of Terror with Hervé Villechaize. It's fucking weird.
See, I'd watch
really
that.
Low budget. It's one of those regional films that just has a weird feel about it.
I'm a huge fan of Tattoo, and Fantasy Island.
I probably got the name wrong.
Or Villechaize. No, that's his name.
No. I know it's Malatesta. Yeah. Oh, Malatesta's Carnival of Blood. Sorry, not Carnival.
Wow.
Made in 1973, which is what this movie feels like.
Right.
It was made in.
And you know what? I really wonder if this movie had been made earlier and leaned into some of those things more, if it would have been a better movie.
Yeah, it probably would have been a little bit more interesting.
Grime it up a little bit.
Right.
Do something, please. Because they didn't do anything. It's not slick, because Poltergeist is a pretty slick movie. This movie is not, but it's also not grimy, and it's not filled with atmosphere because you've decided to make it like a carnival in the middle of nowhere. Like, it's still a nice carnival. There are people there. That's the thing that I have a hard time with this movie. It's like the carnival and the Funhouse. There are plenty of people there. It must not be dissuading them that people have died. So it must not have been that big of a deal. Fucking William Finley is there.
I know. And not used effectively.
One scene.
And it's
nothing to write home about. It's a shame that it's William Finley, that we have to mention that it's William Finley. Frankly, it's a shame that it's him more than anything else.
It's a fun little scene, but it could have been tightened up and edited a little bit cleaner.
This is 7 years after Phantom of the Paradise, too, which cracks me up.
We watched It Chapter 2 after this, and that carnival scene in that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we got another carnival that doesn't really do much with the carnival scene scenario. But anyway,
Carnival scene in It Chapter 2 is rough.
yeah. Well,
You're talking about the opening of the movie, right?
no, there's two carnival scenes, I guess, actually, since there's one in the one with the kid when Bill is trying to save that kid.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. Honestly, I forgot about it mostly everything from that movie. I haven't watched it yet. I'm not looking forward to it. It's 3 hours long.
I know.
And I have to hear that fucking Pennywise noise like 8 million times.
I had to watch it yesterday because there wasn't going to be any way I could do it today or tomorrow. So you don't hear that in the movie.
You hear it all the time.
No, it's in the trailer.
It doesn't matter. It's in the movie in my head. They ruined that movie with those noise cues anyways. You know that.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we fucking will. Yeah, we will. Because that's one of my big problems with that movie.
That's my biggest problem with those movies.
Well, that's my problem with horror in general in the now era, the 10s, the 20s.
Yeah.
Make more movies like Funhouse. Just kidding. Don't. This movie came out on Arrow. Like, we're wrong here. You know what I mean?
No, I know,
like,
it has fans.
We're fucking wrong. Like, we're big time wrong. Excuse me. It was a Shout Factory, Scream Factory release. So of course it was. It was.
I always say to each their own.
Right.
And I know I have very particular tastes, even when it comes to horror. And I know that this has a fan base. It just doesn't. It's just not. It's not something that I would never watch. If for some reason my daughter was like, "Remember that movie we watched that one day with the," and it would take me a while to think of what she was talking about.
Right.
And then I'd go, "Oh, you mean the Funhouse? Yeah, can we watch that again? Sure, why not?" I'd watch it again for if she brought it up or for someone else asked me to be on a podcast about it, I guess. But probably not for any other reasons.
So did you hear kind of the weird part about the novelization of the book, of the movie?
I read that, that Dean Koontz, under a pseudonym, had written a novelization, fleshed out the backstories of that's what you do with a novelization, and that it came out prior to the movie coming out because it was held up, and so people thought it was a blah, blah, blah.
And the brother is throughout the the book version of the movie. He is involved in the climax of the book. The younger brother is.
Right.
So I don't know what happened then, because whatever, if Dean Koontz's book is better, it might be because Dean Koontz did a good job or because they carved up Larry Block's script.
True. Yeah.
I don't know which one, but there is a version of the story where the brother, Joey and Amy, end up together in the basement of the Funhouse and they fight Gunther and kill him down there.
That makes more sense.
Right. And like that movie, that's the movie I was expecting. That's the movie that the book apparently is.
That sounds immediately more interesting.
Right.
And that's what I kept thinking, like, oh, he's going to get captured first, or he's going to be down there first. And they end up, finding each other inside of the Funhouse at some point and getting out together. Not, oh, some other carny found me, laid me in his bed until my parents got there, and then I went home.
Right.
Without him mentioning what's her name's here still. The parents don't know. They think she's gone to her friend's house to spend the night. He doesn't tell the parents their car. She actually came here and their car is still here. I saw the car.
Right.
And tried to get into it.
Why wouldn't he tell them that? It's weird. It's weird. The movie is like, it lacks logic, which makes me think it's not entirely Larry Block's fault.
Yeah.
Maybe this script did get cut up big time. Hey,
that makes sense. That's where that was leading, and it didn't go there.
And on Scribd right now for $15 a month, you can get access to all kinds of audiobooks. So this is not an ad, but Funhouse is on there. 8 hours. That's it.
Huh.
Hey, Hey, might be good. I don't know. I mean, if I read it and I come back to you and I say, hey, that movie is not as good as that book, that's a problem. Because I don't know. The book sounds a lot more interesting than the movie. And Dean Koontz is a good horror writer. I mean, he's like the only other one most people know other than Stephen King, which always cracks me up when you go to the used bookstores and you look in the horror section. K. Everything else is unimportant. Literally, like King and Koontz, baby, and nothing else.
Yeah, I tried my hand at some Koontz back in the day.
I read his Frankenstein book that he did because he did like a 3-part Frankenstein series, like in New Orleans, and I read the first one. It was pretty good, but I've never read any of his other stuff. I don't know any Dean Koontz anything.
I read I'd have to look. I saw Phantoms in my chest where I keep my old books when I was looking for Silence of the Lambs, and I saw Phantoms, and I know I read a couple others as well. He didn't hook me in like Stephen King did, but I enjoyed a couple of his books. Pretty interesting ideas.
To quote Jason Mewes, Affleck, you the bomb in Phantoms, yo. That's the only thing I know about Phantoms is that fucking line from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Never seen that. What is that? What is that movie about?
That's the second time you've brought that up.
What?
In as many episodes that I've recorded with you, you also brought up Jay and Silent Bob on the My Own Private Idaho episode.
Oh yeah, the applesauce bitch thing. Hey, that's Miramax, man, in like the 90s and the early 2000s. I mean, Good Will Hunting was like their calling card for like a decade, man.
And rightfully so.
It's
a very fine movie.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of curious. Actually, I might go and find a Dean Koontz book and read it. Like, I've never read any of his stuff. So I would be curious to know like what his best book is and go and read that. Because what are his books about? Like, I genuinely have no idea. Because like, this is not what I thought a Dean Koontz book would be. But yet that's apparently what Funhouse is. So it's a Dean Koontz adaptation of a Larry Block script. So maybe it's good. Maybe I'll read. Maybe that'll be the Dean Koontz book.
Let me know. Let me know what you find out. I'll read it after I finish Silence of the Lambs, which will not be much longer because I'm already halfway through.
It's a good book, man.
Fucking great book.
It's not as good as the Funhouse film, but you know. So,
and the movie is just awful.
Yeah, right. They made one and never heard anything else ever. Hannibal Lecter, who's that? Mr. Begley, final thoughts on the Funhouse, a film that neither one of us picked, by the way. I think I'd like to.
Yeah, I was wondering why this.
Why did we talk about this?
I don't know. It was one of those things that popped up in my email. You have an invitation to.
Oh, right. It was Andy's idea.
Well, and he's not even here. That little fucker,
son of a bitch. Well, hey.
It would have been interesting if he had a differing opinion on this since he picked it.
He probably likes it.
Big dummy.
Listen here, we eviscerated this fucking movie. Sorry. We didn't like it.
Yeah, it's an oddity. It doesn't really fit in with the films that I think of when I think of horror in 1981. So maybe check it out as an oddity. It's a curiosity.
Yeah.
And like we've mentioned, it came out, although I don't know when it was filmed, since obviously there were delays in getting it released. It came out the year before Tobe Hooper's biggest, at least box office smash, Poltergeist.
I would say it's his biggest movie, right? Texas Chainsaw is the more like horror fan movie, but I think Poltergeist is the more culturally important movie.
It's definitely his most successful film.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that Texas Chainsaw, even after all these years, has come close to making as much money as Poltergeist did.
I like the theatrical poster for Funhouse, the ripoff of the Rocky Horror Picture Show poster. That movie that they were making with that poster should have been whatever this was, and it wasn't as fun. Like you said, this is a strange mix of things. It's a movie out of time. It's a movie out of place. It's a movie that exists post Friday the 13th, pre Poltergeist. So nobody's taking Tobe Hooper seriously because he's the guy who made Texas Chainsaw. He's not the guy who's made Poltergeist yet. So this movie comes out again, you read the reviews, it's middle of the road. People said it's, at the time people were saying it was okay. Nobody was like, this is a great, amazing film. But like you said, thankfully, it has, like a lot of things, found its audience now. And that is what I am thankful for. As someone who loves movies, but didn't like this one, I'm glad this movie does have an audience of people who clearly like it a lot, because they have like a Kim Newman film critique in the Blu-ray re-release from Scream Factory. It's a whole fucking thing. So I'm glad that there are plenty of people that like this movie and that are willing to watch it, and that it's found the audience. Yours truly and my good friend here, Mr. Mark Begley. That is definitely not the case for the two of us.
Yeah, not my favorite.
No. So on that note, Mr. Begley, where could people find you when you're not here talking to me about random horror movies that we'll never watch again?
You can find me on the internet at wakeupheavy.com, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Letterboxd at wakeupheavy. And the show streams wherever you listen to podcasts. That's about it.
As for me, cstachiw.com, cstachiw.com. That's my link tree. Go there for all the things I work on. There are a lot. Go there. This show, kulturecast.com, patreon.com/kulturecast. $1 is all it takes to get access to bonus content. But I understand. Times are hard. Inflation's a thing. This all sucks. Movies are fun, though. They're an escape. So if you want to escape, all you got to do is listen. And, maybe watch along if you're feeling froggy. As for you, Mr. Begley, thank you for joining me as always. I guess.
Yeah, why not?
Kind of a dud, kind of a bummer. But hey, we got to hang out and talk about it. You got to listen. So make sure to check out the next episode.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.